Everyone in the magical world uses magic for everything and makes it as a natural part of their lives. Also, high emphasis placed on mastery of magic and determines one's social standing in their world. However, deep in the jungle lives a young man who's born without magic, is isolated from people and lives with his father. The story begins with Mashle doing bench presses with enormous amounts of weight like it's nothing. He always spends his time training and bulking up muscles, and he adores eating cream puff. His father, named Regrobranded, casually sits on his chair while using magic to pour himself a drink. When Mashle tries to enter the house, he takes the entire door off. This causes his father to scream. Mashle admits that he couldn't remember whether to push or pull. His father is concerned about him because Mashle has been living in the house for years. He begins to regret his actions and apologizes, promising to fix the door. His father calms down a little. When he sees Mashle, he starts to panic again by seeing him, tries to fix the door as he turns to the side, and continually bashes it against the door frame and breaks the door. His father pours some tea for both of them to take, and he confirms if his son has finished the day's training routine. Mashle asks why all of his workouts are physical. Regro pauses for a moment before answering. His internal dialogue reveals that Mashle is not like ordinary people, because he can't use magic at all, so that the least he can do is build him up physically, but Regro doesn't give him any answer. Later, he is heading out for a little while and he is trusting Mashle to take care of their crib. Regro seriously reminds him not to go out into the city while he's gone. As soon as his father turns away, he sees a bakery advertising of limited edition flavor cream puff, so he puts on a cloak and runs towards the city. When he enters the city, he notices that everyone is using their magic power to do their works. He arrives at the bakery and smells the freshly baked goods, which makes his body tense up with excitement and causes him to clutch his hands tight. Mashle steps forward and places an order for 7 pieces of the limited edition cream puffs. The baker is shocked when he hands over the coins because they all are mangled. Mashle saying that he's got too excited and squashed them in his hand, but the baker doesn't accept the mangled coins, so Mashle straightens them again. This caused the worker to scream. Suddenly wind blows and exposes his face. Everyone immediately looks at him, and horrified to see his face without a mark, because in the magic world everyone has a face mark. On the other hand, there's a man named Brad. He's a magic police inspector. While reading the news, he sees that a student was selected to become the Divine Visionary of the Magic Academy, a title that is given to the best student in that school. With that title, the student also becomes a noble and gets rewarded tons of money. This makes Brad jealous. Next to him, there's also a chained guy just like Mashle, without any mark on his face. The guy apologizes for stealing because he was hungry, but Brad gets madder and decides to finish him off. At that moment, he receives a call mentioning a kid without a mark roaming the streets. Suddenly, Mashle bumps into a policeman and apologizes. The policeman was drunk and was looking for someone to take out his frustration on, especially the puff cream got his clothes dirty. The guy starts ranting about how he's doing his best to protect people. Mashle apologizes once again, and even offers him a puff, but this only seems to make the policeman even angrier. The policeman throws the puff to the ground and starts lashing out at Mashle. But Mashle grabs the policeman by the collar and rips his clothes apart, mentioning he will wash and return them. The guy gets even madder because of what Mashle did to him. At that moment, Brad appears to the scene and he notices Mashle and assuming him to be the one he was looking for. Everyone was talking about this unmarked kid, but Mashle didn't seem to care. He just kept eating cream puffs. Brad finds the kid is weird. Suddenly, Regro quickly ran towards Mashle and ran home with him in his arms. Brad watched them go and released a tracking spell to follow them. At home, Regro was furious, because Mashle didn't listen to his orders. But Mashle feels guilty and apologizes, so Regro stops scolding. And as punishment, he tells Mashle to repeat his morning training routine. Mashle felt sad and he went by leaving the rest of the cream puffs for his dad. His father started to think that maybe he was getting off easy because Mashle was never rebellious during his teenage years. He picks up the puffs and thinks that they've been living in the forest to hide Mashle from everyone. Otherwise, the police would chase him, because he cannot use any magic, something that is almost a crime. But now, he must protect Mashle more than ever because the magic police had caught him already. Suddenly, their front door was smashed open, and Brad entered, asking Regro where he is hitting his son. On the other hand, out in the forest, Mash was focused on his punishment by repeating his morning training routine. He just needed 5 minutes to do it. Later, he was headed back home thinking about his puffs, and he stopped at the door, but he doesn't know if he's supposed to pull or push it, as he doesn't want to break it again, and make his father angry anymore. Inside, Brad was asking Regro to reveal his son. Mash, overhearing this, got shocked and confused. He realized something was happening inside. Meanwhile, Brad mentions that, since ancient times, they kill anyone who cannot use magic, and he wants to keep that tradition. Because they believes those who can't use magic are devil descendants. However, Regro was determined to protect his son, no matter the cost. Brad tries to convince Regro to reveal Mash's location because if he does, they will spare him. Despite being tortured, Regro refused it. He remembered how he was too weak as a magician and was rejected by everyone. His teachers, family, and everyone rejected him. Death seemed like the only way out, but he stopped it when he heard a baby cry. He saw the baby who has no face mark, and for the first time in his life, he felt like someone truly needed him. At that moment, he decided that he wanted to be that child's father and raise him in a way that nobody could deny his existence. Brad ordered his soldiers to look for Mash, and Regro desperately shouted for Mash to run away. Brad decided to end the Regro's life with his spell. At that moment, Mash comes through the door, and punches one of the guards. The second guard comes to pick a fight with him again, but he rips his clothes for the second time today. And gave several slaps in a row, until he finishes the guy off with a more powerful one. Even though Mash didn't have magic, he promised to send Brad to the hell with his fist. Regro's heart aches knowing that Mash was risking his life to protect them. He commands him to leave, but Mash was determined to keep his promise. Despite the sadness and fear, Regro was proud of Mash's courage. Brad started to cast a spell he used once to kill a dragon. But Mash easily deflected it with his bare hand. Everyone was shocked, but Mash just stood there calmly. Brad used another more powerful spell, one capable of destroying the whole forest. But Mash slapped the spell away again. Brad got furious and started throwing spells at him. But Mash used the spells as a ball to dribble, and even played volleyball. But now, Mash wanted to finish. So he takes his father's stick. Brad gets afraid and creates a magic barrier, thinking that Mash will cast any spell. Instead, Mash throws the stick at Brad with full force. Although Brad had a magic barrier around him, the stick got his face. Mash threatened Brad to stay away or he would kill them. Brad was amazed by Mash's physical ability, and so he offered them a deal. Mentioning, Mash is exceptional, and if he enrolls in the magic school, he can become the god's chosen mage. Brad wants the title if Mash gets chosen. This way Mash will be recognized by the city as a mage and not an outcast. Despite Regro's opposition, Mash accepted the offer because he don't want to cause more trouble for his father. He wanted to seize this chance to turn society on its head. And so, at night, he climbs up the stairs to the Magic Academy and he promises to crush all challenges. Here ends the episode 1. See you all, take care.